hometown stories from the heart of it all. And our folks have a lot to tell. We've got next door neighbors with remarkable lives. We're riding on a story carousel. So sit right back as we hear about their lives. Yeah, home is where our story begins. Families, neighbors, and friends, the love never ends. Right here in Miami Springs. Right here in Miami. And Virginia Gordon's here in Miami Springs.
Hi everybody, I'm Buzz Fleischman for Hometown Stories. This is a series of conversations with residents here in Miami Springs, just to let you know who your neighbors are and how special they really are. Today, we've got Tom Curtis, no relation to Glenn Curtis, founder of the city. That's Tom Curtis with one S at the end. Glenn Curtis has got two S's, just so you know. Tom has been actively involved in the city of Miami Springs for many years, and we're glad to have him on our conversation show here today. Tom, good morning. Thanks for coming.
Good morning. Curtis gets a little confusing. My business address is on Curtis Parkway, and I get asked about whether I'm related to Glenn Curtis, but no, I'm not. But it's a nice compliment if I was.
Well, you've been very involved in the city here for a long time. Right now, it is December of 2019. Because we're going on YouTube, so this is going to be forever. So we're just talking about who you are and why you came here. Now, you were raised in Ohio.
Well, I grew up in Aurora, Ohio, and actually I had played for the Baltimore Colts, and I ended up playing for the Miami Dolphins. And my first experience in Miami Springs was at 532 South Drive. I lived with Jim Mandich when I was trying to make the Miami Dolphins, and got my knee destroyed prior to the '72 season, and that was the end of my NFL career. But my exposure to Miami Springs during that time, very limited actually, and I ended up going back up to Ohio to get married a couple of years later, and when the opportunity came for me to come back to Miami, I told Debbie, my wife, that we were going to live in Miami Springs. And we ended up having 3 different homes here in Miami Springs. And I wouldn't want to live anywhere else, to be honest with you. I drive all around, do a lot of driving, unfortunately. And it's always home to come back to Miami Springs.
It feels good to get back into the zip code, doesn't it?
Absolutely does. The traffic, I know all the side streets, I know all the ways around. This morning I was going down Northwest 36th Street, apparently a pedestrian had been hit, and it was totally blocked off on East Drive. And of course I know my way, how to go around to get to the post office that I have to go to every day over on Milam Dairy Road, and made my way without a problem. But had I not known Miami Springs, and I saw people who were trying to figure out how to get out of this mess, and they should have followed my lead.
Usually if they're driving around in Miami Springs at night, they're going to get lost, because we're not a city that's perfect on the grids. We've got curved roads, at any rate. But you had a football history prior to Baltimore and Miami. You played for Michigan.
Yes, I played for the University of Michigan, and I played on Bo Schembechler's first team at University of Michigan. We went to the Rose Bowl, and I was drafted by the Baltimore Colts and played a couple of years there, and so I've had a lot of experience. And I published at one time I had 5 football publications. I had Football News, and I had 4 NFL publications. I published Dolphin Digest for over 40 years. I sold that about 5 years ago, and I still do the Steelers Digest. I still go to the Dolphin games. It's in the press box. They let me do that, and I'm still very involved in football, but more involved with the local news.
You had a national honor from the University of Michigan, Michigan State.
No, don't say
no,
that.
not Michigan State.
Please don't.
I guess we can edit that out if we have to.
No, we don't have to. That's okay.
No,
Michigan. Well, I'm in the College Hall of Fame, and I was an All-American in Michigan. So I had a successful collegiate career. Unfortunately, 2 knee injuries when I got to the NFL cut that short, and I don't get a dime from the NFL. So that's unfortunate. If I had played one more year, I would have gotten a pension. But that's life.
Well, you've been here for a while. When did you move to Miami Springs?
I moved here in 1975 officially, and have been here most of that time. I lived in Doral a little for a while, but I was still publishing the River Cities Gazette, so my interest in office was always in Miami Springs, and I've never, like I said before, I've never really wanted to go anywhere else other than to Michigan to see my daughter and my grandkids, and have a house there in Saline, Michigan. So maybe one day when I retire, but I don't know what I would do with myself.
I don't think we want you to retire, because you're so integral to the flavor of Miami Springs, to what we've got here, to our specialness. So what was the River City Gazette before you got
A
it?
very good question. Former mayor of Miami Springs, who everybody knows here too, is Chet Fields. Chet was the mayor, and after he was mayor, he and his family members were running a publication called the Miami Springs Shopper, which was basically an advertising publication and a little political BS publication. And I ended up buying the Miami Springs Shopper from Chet, and I immediately changed the name of it to the River Cities Gazette, because you know, the River Cities is 5 cities in our area, and including Virginia Gardens and Medley, and that's who our publication covers. The River Cities also include Hialeah and Hialeah Gardens, and we've attempted to incorporate them a little bit more in the festival and different things, but it's basically the three river cities.
The River Cities.
And I changed the name immediately, and I ran it for about 5 years as a monthly. And then in 1986, I made the major decision to take a publication from monthly to weekly, and that is a giant undertaking, and to get enough advertising and support to make that work is not easy. I'm very proud of being able to do that for the last, 33 years, and especially in this day and age. And I appreciate the people of Miami Springs, the advertisers, and the people that support the publication, because if they don't support the publication, it won't be here. And that's the reality. Every Wednesday we have many people that look for the Gazette and read it cover to cover each week, and I certainly hope, and I know that it does help the advertisers, but it's tough. It's a print publication, and if you look at the Miami Herald and you look at the difficulties that daily newspapers are having, people can understand maybe a little bit the difficulty of, and I hope they appreciate it, because it does take a lot of effort. It's not just, I've been sitting in that seat at Miami Springs Council meetings every 2 weeks for the last, goodness, I don't want to guess, 25 years probably. And I get up Tuesday morning after that council meeting, and we're done by Tuesday at noon, and it's I don't want to say it's gigantically profitable, but I've made a living with that, and I hope to continue.
Well, a paper like this is important to a small town as opposed to a larger paper for a bigger city, because you're focusing in on local things, local people, local events, and that's what people want to know about. That's what brings us together as a community.
Absolutely. That's the whole focus of our publication. We try to run police reports and the latest news in the community, and we have an opinion too, Buzz. I mean, I look at it as a very important responsibility, and I take it very seriously when I do put my opinion in that paper. and sometimes Bill, my editor Bill Daly, or someone else we allow to have an opinion in there too. But of course we get feedback, and any opinion you have, you're going to get the opposite side. So that's what opinion's all about.
That's right. And in a small town, that's what's happening. People are talking. But you're involved in helping to build our community in other ways as well. You're the executive director for the last few years of the River Cities Festival.
Yes, I think it's 5 years now, but actually I've been involved, believe it or not, with the River Cities Festival and the Springs River Festival and whatever it's been called.
Whatever the iteration, yeah.
Since the 1970s. 1978, I believe, was when I started getting involved with the Hialeah Chamber, who was running the festival at that time. And well, I've been through all the name change and them taking the name and we getting it back. And when I started, it was the Springs River Festival for many years because the Hialeah Chamber hijacked it and tried to run it at Hialeah Racetrack. And
that didn't work for us, did it?
Didn't work for them either. When I got it back, when it was decided that I would be able to run it, I immediately changed the name back to the River Cities Festival. And it aligns with the River Cities Gazette, so the name recognition is certainly helpful. But and this is an especially challenging year, 2020, for the River Cities Festival, because what's happening in downtown Miami Springs, we all know there are changes that are going on there. And my committee and like Lynn Brooks and Dick Bergen and Leisha, those kind of people, we have very difficult decisions to make on the layout of the festival this coming year, because all has changed. The area between the two bridges is not going to be available for us, and but we'll make it happen, and the people will enjoy it.
As they always have, and hopefully no rain either.
We don't speak that word.
No, we don't. What are the big changes you've seen in the River Cities Festival over the years?
Well, when I first got involved, it was like an art show down Palm Avenue. So, and the Indians were very, very involved. That was the initial intention, was to bring awareness to the Miami River. And over the years, we really have gotten away from that. The Indians are no longer involved. We used to have mayor's races and a lot of Indian vendors, and we've tried to bring that back several times. We had alligator wrestling for many, many years. We always tried to continue with that. In fact, a couple of years ago we tried again, but I guess the Indians are making too much money at the Hard Rock. I don't know.
The alligators just didn't want to take it. They were working for peanuts, right?
I don't know.
I don't know
the
a
answer.
Decent alligator to wrestle now.
It's evolved, but the other thing that I'm proud of with the River Cities Festival is the amount of money that has been able to be made by the different organizations. The Lions Club, the Rotary Club, the Optimist Club. They've all been very involved over the years, and there are many, many other nonprofit organizations that get involved every year and make money for their organizations. And we offer nonprofit rates, so we encourage, and we also encourage the businesses that to participate. It's kind of hard sometimes to get them involved, but it would be good if like Divino Ceviche or Ceviches by Divino. They know it's best to be a part of it and take the space in front of their business and use the festival. We encourage that. Of course, Saboris used to do very much have their bar, set up a bar, and they were very, very much involved. And we have some other businesses that have been involved, but we'd like to have more local businesses involved.
Well, it's a boost for all the businesses here downtown, and everybody looks forward to the River Cities Festival every year.
Yeah, I think just drawing the people from the outside to the festival and they see what businesses are here and see who's operating Miami Springs and they get into the residential area and they get exposed to Miami Springs. A lot of people don't know where Miami Springs is, believe it or not, Buzz.
Do you think that's a good thing?
Well, I know a lot of people do. I don't know how many times over the years I've heard, oh, we should just close down the bridge, the incoming bridge, and not let anybody in.
Yeah, well, why don't we just build a wall around the whole thing?
Build a
Come on,
wall.
why not? Why not?
Right.
But that's not going to happen.
No, that's not going to happen, and that's not what anybody wants to happen in reality, because we want people to come here and enjoy it. It's unfortunate that, and with the downtown redevelopment, I believe that it will draw a lot more people, and businesses can have more success. So.
That's kind of a flashpoint today when people start hearing about building and possible overbuilding. What residents are saying, and this is the new development off of the circle here. It's kind of riled people up a little bit.
Well, there's opinions on both sides,
Yeah.
certainly. I happen to believe that progress is necessary, and that theater has been probably has rats the size of cats in there for the last 30 years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to think that we shouldn't be doing that or shouldn't be developing that side, I think is very short-sighted.
Well,
And-
it may be a shame to see that architecture kind of not the same exact architecture, but I believe the city says there's got to be some elements of the Pueblo Revival style architecture and Mission style architecture in the new buildings. We don't know how much
Yeah,
we'll see there.
I guess that's a compromise, or that's an effort to appease some of the negativity, and I think the worry about the traffic problems and the worry about parking, those things are valid reasons to maybe not want it, but I think looking long range, I mean, we have to advance, we have to progress. And I think the council's made the appropriate decision. And believe me, Buzz, if I didn't, I would say it right now. So that's what I believe.
I think that's important because all these things come into play to create the atmosphere we have here. And it's a great small town. Tell us what the best things you love about our town.
Calmness, the calmness and the tree-lined streets and the family atmosphere. My 3 kids grew up here. I coached Little League Baseball for many, many years. They all participated in, my daughter, when they all graduated from Miami Springs High School. My daughter was a homecoming queen, and just the family atmosphere of our oasis, here between the airport and the sprawl of
And
the
sprawl,
Palmetto,
the urban sprawl.
the urban sprawl.
And Glenn Curtis's vision here was right on when he developed the city in that City Beautiful movement with curving roads and parkways,
tree-lined
trees.
streets. No, I've always thought that Miami Springs was one of the most unique places in South Florida, and I still believe that. They say, well, you go up to Hollywood and there's a circle in Hollywood, and it's not the same. But we have our circle, we have the gazebo. I don't know of any other community that has anything like that.
We are certainly grateful for Glenn Curtis's vision here. Of course, he produced developed the city of Hialeah and Opa-locka as well. But we've got something very special here. Is there anything that you would like people to know about you that they don't know?
Wow.
That's a heck of a question.
Yeah. Well, let's see. I gave up the game of golf.
You what?
I gave up the game.
But you were such a great
telling
golfer.
John Kenny and my buddies from Sunday mornings that I could play any athletic. I was a better basketball player in high school than I was a football player, and I played. Was offered scholarships in baseball. I could play any sport, just not golf.
Huh.
And played it for 40 years, and I'll still go out and play in a scrambler or something, but I've given that game up. But my passion is actually I love to play poker, and that's my competitive juices. You know, I can no longer go out there and compete on the field, but competing on an equal basis for money is something I enjoy.
Well, Tom, it's so good to have you here and learn about your history here in Miami Springs with the River Cities Festival, with the River Cities Gazette. And thank you for being a good citizen here, because you're actively involved in the community. You're helping to bring it together, and it's just fantastic.
Well, thank you, Buzz, and I'm going to turn around a little bit and thank you for your contributions to the River Cities Gazette as you know, one of our columnists, and for many, many years. I can remember the day you walked to my office over there in Doral and had an idea for a column, and it's turned into Buzz. So, Buzz, we appreciate it.
It's
Thank
a
you.
pleasure. Thank you so much, Tom. That's it for my friend Tom Curtis here in Miami Springs. Hometown Stories. Stay with us and watch Hometown Stories on Channel 77 on YouTube, the city's YouTube channel, on what else? The city's website, the Facebook page for the city of Miami Springs, and Twitter feed, all the other platforms here that Anna Hume has made available to us in her vision in Miami Springs. And so thank you, Anna, our producer and my co-host here. Thank you all for watching, and this is Buzz Fleischman. We'll see you next time.
Families, neighbors, and friends, the love never ends right here in Miami Springs. Right here in Miami, and Virginia Gordon's here in Miami Springs.